What we have learned from NIO's third quarter earnings, should you still consider buying at $40? Let's get to it. For NIO fans out there, the third quarter earnings result was perhaps one of the most important things this week after a rough Monday thanks to the Citron short report. And what's really shocking here is the fact that NIO stock was down in after hours trading, falling as much as 4.5% after the third quarter earnings. But overall, I'm very confident we will see a rise in NIO stock and hit $80 by 2021. So here are 5 things that we have learned from NIO's third quarter earnings report. Number 1. NIO had the best quarter in its history. One could only wonder how the heck did NIO tumble by as much as 4.5% despite having the best quarter in history. It actually makes sense, but I'll get more into that later. As for now, like I mentioned in my previous NIO third quarter prediction video, NIO's total vehicle deliveries in the third quarter of 2020 surged by 154% to 12,206, with ES6 making up 71% of NIO's vehicle sales. To be precise, 8,660 ES6, 3,530 ES8 and 60 EC6, while compared with 4,799 vehicles deliveries in the third quarter of 2019 and 10,331 vehicles delivered in the second quarter of 2020. NIO reported earnings per share of -14 cents, beating the analyst consensus of -17 cents per share by 3 cents per share. The higher the earnings per share of a company, the better its profitability. Total revenues were $666.6 million, an increase of 146.4% year over year, again beating analyst consensus by $50.32 million. From the $666 million, $628.4 million in the third quarter of 2020 came from vehicle sales. Gross margin were up 12.9% compared to -12.1% year over year. The higher the gross margin, the more capital a company retains on each dollar of sales. Vehicle margin improved to 14.5% compared to -6.8% year over year. NIO expects fourth quarter revenue of $922 million to $948 million compared with analyst expectation of $742 million. NIO's CEO William Li says that NIO's sales are expected to increase again in the fourth quarter to between 16,500 to 17,000, with NIO having delivered 5,055 new vehicles already in October, meaning we are expected to see about 12,000 vehicles from November and December, and that possibly means another record-breaking vehicle deliveries for NIO. Now, I know you must be wondering, why did NIO tumble despite showing such impressive earnings? And that brings to my second point of what we have learned. NIO collapse is due to market irrationality. Look at this. An article contributed by Thomas Young. He mentioned that 2 reasons behind are: after hours trading tends to be thin. In other words, there aren't enough traders to have price discovery, meaning single trades of profit taking can push stock prices down with no good reason. In a lot of ways, I actually agree with him. The truth is, NIO had over 500% rally in just over a couple of months and doubled in the past month. That's a big rally in a short time. And with human element things like this, it is bound to add unpredictability and irrationality to market swings. Number 3. NIO has a $3.3 billion cash position to last through 2022. This is exactly what we want to see because not too long ago, if you remember, NIO was on the verge of bankruptcy. With no major investment, the company was set for disaster as global markets began melting down over COVID-19. But NIO turned out to have an ace in its pocket in the form of its local state government in China. Since the turnaround, NIO has managed to raise cash through share dilution and credit facilities. And if you are wondering how this money will be used, then look no further than international expansion. With its $63 billion valuation, NIO is now the 6th most valuable auto company behind companies like Tesla, Toyota, BYD, Volkswagen, and that means that it is going to need international expansion ambition to justify its market cap. NIO will enter into the Europe market as soon as 2021. The way I see it, NIO is definitely on the right track by starting with Norway and Denmark, as Norway makes up the final spot for the top 3 market by total EV sales. Number 4. 2021 and 2022 will be the year of sedan for NIO. Yes, you heard it right. NIO will be expanding into sedans to compete with Tesla Model 3. Just when we thought that NIO will only be releasing ET7, NIO announced plan to launch another NIO sedan. So the next 2 products in line will both be sedans. Its 4th model is expected to be unveiled in next event in January 2021. These new models are the company's current top research and development focus. As of now, NIO plans to launch 1 vehicle per year and has no plan to build own production and will continue to outsource to its current production partner JAC. By January 2021, NIO will be able to produce 7,500 units per month from its current 5,000 units per month. Number 5. NIO's CEO William Li refutes Citron research. How do you go about appropriately liking NIO and then to suddenly change its tone? This is indeed the frustrating aspect of Citron research showing that can go unsaid. Citron believes that shares will soon fall back down to $25 zone thanks to competitive vehicle pricing by Tesla Model Y. However, as William Li puts it, the more EV model selection for the customer, the better, as there is enough for everybody. Remember, right now, Tesla and NIO combined only serve a very little chunk of 5%. Of the 24 million vehicles sold, EVs account for only about 5% of the auto market share, and we are expected to see a surge of 25% over time by 2025. Look at this. Tesla drops the China-made Model 3 price by up to 10% as it introduces cheaper batteries in October 2020, which was the biggest price reduction. And look at what happens. NIO remains strong and delivered a record high of 5,055 vehicles. That's all I have for this video. All in all, in the near term, I still believe NIO is going to hit $80 by 2021. And will I pick up more shares when it dips to $40? Definitely yes. Till then, I'll reevaluate my position when it actually hits to $80. As always, please remember to subscribe and hit the thumbs up button if you want to learn and watch more on my elaborated NIO research. Till next time.